Hello everyone, I'm Keith Myers, and on today's episode of Tech Lab, we're going to be looking at this thing today. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to Tech Lab, the show where we talk about anything and everything tech-centric. Today, I thought it'd be a fun idea to look at these things. These are called Arcade1up Partycades. I like to call them wallcades because that's what they're really for, but, whatever. So, yes, we are going to be looking at all three of them. There were three of these at the time of recording this, which is February 14th. Still. Holy crap, why is Valentine's Day so long? Let's just say that, admittedly, I hope we see more of these. I hope the rumored Defender one comes to pass, but, oh. Yeah, let's just say there are three of these at the moment. In the form of Asteroid, Centipede, and Pac-Man. Oops, looks like it started without me. So naturally, this cabinet has 7 games to it. So we're going to go ahead and go through them all this time instead of just kind of blowing it off like we did in the 12-in-1 video that got scrapped. So let's go ahead and hop right to it. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, so before we actually look at the Asteroids cabinet, we're going to be looking at the first two of the three. Now, these two cabinets come from the Home Shop Network, and as far as I've noticed, they have not been released as of this recording over on QVC. Now, well, in a matter of speaking, the Pac-Man one does also exist on QVC, but not in this color. So, right out of the gate, HSN's packaging quality was pretty good, and the only major differences I saw between the packaging of the various wallcades are the fact that, well, there's just name differences. Otherwise, they're all relatively the same. That being said, the build quality is pretty solid on all of them. They all come pre-assembled out of the box, which is an absolute godsend considering how these things normally come in. But let's just say that overall, I'd say HSN got a pretty good end of the deal here. I absolutely love the black design for Pac-Man. I think it works a lot better for contrast than the wood grain, and I wish they would have went with this for the 50th anniversary instead. At least it would have brought it a lot closer. The Centipede Partycade is pretty much the same as its arcade counterpart, just with thinner art and an overall pretty decent presentation across the board. You can access the components in the back if you want to drop a Raspberry Pi in there or something, but honestly, I'm not really that level of enthusiast. Sure, I wanted to try and be that level of enthusiast, but Project Ghost was an indicator that wasn't happening. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the games on the two cabinets really quick. You get 8 games on each. For Centipede, you have Centipede, Liberator, Avalanche, Missile Command, Millipede, Crystal Castles, and Super Breakout. For Pac-Man, you have Pac-Man, Pac-Land, Super Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Mappy, Super Xevious, Galaxian, and Galaga. Admittedly, if it weren't for the 12-in-1s coming out for the Atari and Namco machines, these would actually be a pretty solid deal. But let's just say of these two, I have gotten some pretty good use out of both of them so far. Right, so let's go ahead and show off some gameplay. Ah, darn it. Ah, shoot. We're going to try out Super Xevious next. And like I said, you can only go left and right and up and down, but that's all you can really do. This game does admittedly remind me of an old PC title called Drone. Galaga plays relatively the same as it always has. Ah, hate it when they home in on you like that. Let's see here, what else can we try out? How about Dig Dug? Well, I shouldn't have taken the A off on this one. And that's how it's done. Okay, I think that should just about do it for the Pac-Man cabinet. The only thing that I could think of that would be new besides CVS is Mappy. Just for the fact that this is basically like Flicky for the Sega Genesis, except maybe a little more confusing. Oh, that's how it's done. Okay, now for the Centipede cabinet, things are a bit things are about what you'd expect. Stop. You have to go player 1. The volume knobs are pretty nice. Ah. Well, you know, if I could focus. There we go. And boom, you're back to the start. So obviously some of the other games on here, like Missile Command, Liberator, and Millipede, you're probably already aware of. However, you have these 3 new games for this system. You have Aka R, the prototype, Avalanche, a game that works well for the scenario involved, and Super Breakout, and I hit the camera there, sorry. And I think we're going to try Super Breakout first. Or at least try to. Well, aren't we off to a lovely start? what I call a combo. Oh, shit! Ah! No one told me the game got this fast! Jeez. Oh, darn it. I didn't notice the ball. Well, that's a new high score, especially for me. But yeah, basically it's Breakout. I mean, what do you expect? But still, though, that kind of caught me off guard. Like, wait, okay, the game's getting okay now. Oh my god, it's getting faster. So let's go ahead and try one of the other games now. You'll have to excuse my reaction. I haven't really played the arcade version of Breakout before. Let's see here. Let's try the prototype next. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Yeah, okay, we're gonna get out of this. Because, there's a good reason why this stayed a prototype. I have no idea what the hell I'm supposed to do there. Let's go ahead and try something that I can actually understand. Avalanche. Now, before we actually hit start on this one, there was a Atari 2600 equivalent to Avalanche called Kaboom, which probably might be recognized by a few more people. And that's the end of that. Basically, the whole point of this game is to just catch all the falling rocks. So, that about does it for the Centipede cabinet, or the Centipede wallcade. So let's go ahead and bring over the Asteroids arcade next. Okay. Whoa! You are very loud. So, this cabinet, the Asteroids one, was not released by HSN, but rather QVC, another home shop network of sorts. They have their own version of Pac-Man as well, but these two titles share only one game that is the same, or, well, two games that are the same. They both have Super Breakout and Avalanche to them. Of course, the user interface between the two is a lot different as well. Instead of this nice vertical one, you have a pretty decent horizontal layout, even if it does feel a little confusing at times. Now, right out of the gate, I'm sure most of you are curious. Did they fix the spinner? I think that's a yes. Seriously. The original spinner on the 12-in-1, which, if you saw the Season 1 long-form video, actually did make an appearance at the end, did have a dial set-up spinner, and as a result, it really broke the overall... It really did break the final product. And as a result, it definitely made it a lot harder to use. You had to use an aftermarket spinner to get the most out of the machine. However, this one is a lot different, a lot more rapid, a lot faster, and it's pretty safe to assume this is going to be the one that is on the Tempest 12-in-1 within the next, that'll be released here in the next few weeks. Believe me, I want to do that, I really do, but Project Ghost just made it really difficult to budget any more arcade machines for the moment. So let's go ahead and try a few games. Okay, so really quickly, I just want to do another close-up of the control panel here. As far as your game selection goes, you have the standard, you have Asteroids, Asteroids Deluxe, Lunar Lander, Tempest, and Gravitar. You also have the newer Super Breakout and Avalanche to the list as well. And, interestingly, you have the 4-player Breakout-style clone, Warlords, which, honestly, it works fine on this, but unfortunately there is a little thing going against it, and that is the Pong 4-player cabinet, which will effectively render this particular version of the game obsolete. Because in this case you can only play as 1 player, whereas the Pong cabinet you can play as 4. So, let's go ahead and try out a game. And to prove to you that the spinner works like a charm, we're going to try out Tempest. Shoot. Yeah, bad part about starting off on the tail end like this is you have a lot working against you at the beginning. Woo! Nailed it. It's especially the spikes. Holy crap, the spikes are the worst part of this game by a long shot. Ah, darn it. But at least I got an extra life out of it, so I'm not complaining. Yeah. Darn. Ah, darn it. Just leave it alone, leave it alone. Nice. Okay, now we're getting into the flat territory. Yeah. Hey, I beat my high score. Ugh. Okay, yeah. Like the last cabinet, you can just hit the 1-player button to get back to the main menu. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and try out the newbie to this cabinet, Warlords, next. Because Super Breakout and Avalanche are relatively the same, just with the spinner. And for this game, yeah, this game gets frickin' rampant at times, even with the computer. No! Darn it. There we go. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much Breakouts. Admittedly, it's a lot more fun when you have 4 people going at it. But this wouldn't be an Asteroids cabinet if we didn't look at the game itself. And thankfully, since you can actually figure out what the hell you're doing here, oh, got hit by a UFO. Whoopsies. Ah! Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, admittedly, the control setup is just kind of a mess on this one. Never really been a fan of it. Asteroids Deluxe is pretty much more of the same. Let's see here. Lunar Lander, I don't know why they include this one. It's always been a bit of a mess in the control department. But you people probably won't pester me in the comments if I don't include Breakout, so we're gonna try it anyway. And as a result, it just seems a little iffy. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of this version. I prefer the trackball more. That, and a vertical game like this isn't really designed to be played on a horizontal plate and, expect to look decent. So I think that brings the Asteroids cabinet matter to a close. But for the sake of consistency, we'll put a game on before we close out the video. So, I think that brings this matter to a close for the moment. Well, let's just say that the Wallcades are pretty much more the same. At least if you're looking at quality, they're definitely a better alternative to the original versions, and you even have an interesting little option that you can work with in terms of actually putting these things up. You can put them on a table like this, or, if you're really feeling weird, you can actually hang these things over a door, which is admittedly pretty nice. I would show you how to hang them up on a wall, but unfortunately, we're not exactly allowed to hang stuff here. This is a rental after all. So, I don't know, I think I'll just demonstrate the door really quickly and then we'll jump to the conclusion. So, as I was saying, you could effectively hang these things on a door like so. There's little holes on the back of the Wallcade that you can just use to do that. Gives you plenty of different ways to mess around with the cabinet. But yeah, let's go ahead and bring this video to a close. So, ladies and gentlemen, that ought to about wrap it up for this video. Let's just say that if you're in the market for Arcade1up, but you don't have a lot of space, and you're not really in a position to get super crazy with your game room, these are an excellent addition to any game room. They fit over a door, you can hook them on the wall, and frankly, they're just a huge space saver, and in a situation like mine, I'd say that's a godsend. So, admittedly, yes, like I said, there are going to be a few stinkers on these cabinets too. So you're going to have to, but you don't really have to play those. I mean, that's the nice thing about cabinets like these, where it's pretty much optional to do whatever in that regard. With that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and bring this episode to a close. And also, we're going to be taking a break from Tech Lab for about a month, so that way we have time to properly put effort into ConStorm's month of animation, or as it's being called now, the March of animation. But don't you worry, we'll be back in April with all sorts of new content, ranging from talking about the Sony PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 5, and reintroducing longtime channel guest JP Snake. Also, we'll be doing a micro PC build video with a Raspberry Pi 3B, and possibly, if everything works smoothly, we'll be installing Ubuntu on a little PC like this. So, with that out of the way, if you like what you saw, great. If you didn't, that's not so great, but thanks for watching anyways, and we'll see you all in April for our PlayStation 5 video. Have a good one.